So just kind of a quick discussion. My name's Keith Adler. I work at Cloudflare. I'm a machine learning engineer. I've actually been working with Kubeflow for a number of years. I first started using it on my own, and then I started a job at Capital One, and I started working with different teams and data science teams and building a machine learning platform there. We deployed Kubeflow on AWS at the time. And now I've moved to Cloudflare, where I started on a GCP deployment. We had a section of our business that was on the cloud at the time. And now we're doing things on our own hardware. And so I've had kind of like the local GCP, the AWS, and the on-prem kind of background for deploying Kubeflow. So I just want to talk through some of that. So what do our data science want? This is just across all those companies' experiences and different deployments. These are the things that like they ask for first. So just want to give feedback from them. So notebooks, that's the first thing. Every team, that's the first thing they ask for. So to Notebook Working Group, thank you. GPUs and distributed compute. This is actually something that I think is going to continue to evolve as new technologies come out, and there are different kinds of GPUs and architectures to support. Feature engineering, I think earlier today some people mentioned Feast as a good example of how to do a feature store and how to integrate that into your tools. And then lastly, I put MLflow and DVC tracking for tracking experiments and data as you work through your use cases. And then what our engineers ask for, easier deployments and maintenance. And that link actually goes to deploy KF, because that's something that I've talked to Matthew quite a bit about. I tried building a Helm chart myself, and I had 8 different Helm charts. But then I realized, like, oh, if I change this one value, then it's in like 4 other Helm charts, and I have to go find where everything is. And so essentially having one set of values that's propagated is a much better way of doing it, which configuration management. Because once you actually deploy this, you have to continue to use it and build it and add. And having one source of truth is a better way to handle it. The last one is one we talked about previously, CVEs and distroless containers. I know this is something the whole industry is dealing with. It's not just Kubeflow, but distroless containers is something that Cloudflare is really pushing forward in general. And if there's the ability to have more distroless containers, it means less dependencies in your container that could be vulnerable, so then you have more CVEs cropping up on you as you're deploying out your services. This is in particular really big for things like FedRAMP compliance and working with government projects. So something to be aware of. And then, what else? These are things that I've run into personally, and I've seen this issue be a challenge for different teams. So rootless Kubeflow, that's actually a really big one for us. That is currently our biggest issue on the core, because we don't allow anything with root running on our own clusters that we build. So that's been a challenge for us, and I did reach out to Julius about this previously, and they gave a great talk today. So thank you, Security Working Group, they merged the first PR, I think, and there's more on the way. So thank you for working on that. And then on the bring your own CNI and Istio plugins, this is an interesting one, because we're running Calico, and we don't have root, and then deploying Istio on that cluster, how do you make that work? This area, there's a lot of different possible service mesh and CNI solutions, but I think that the point I wanted to make here is that I think the compatibility is a really important thing that would bring more users in. We would get a larger total addressable market if you had a cluster, other cluster types that you could work with, and not limit scope to just a clean cluster with the happy path solution of Istio baked in. And then LLM integrations is another one. Specifically, some things that data scientists have talked about is vector databases, fine-tuning, and inference. I don't know if there's an open source vector database or other database we can integrate with. I think Cloudflare announced one recently, but there are a lot of different methods that you could do for this, and I think that would enable some use cases to start up quickly, and you could cache your weights and not have to deal with trying to build your own database separately from Kubeflow. It could just be something you toggle on and you go. And then bonus, I put the Cloudflare blog there. We had announcements last week. You can go read them. I don't need to talk about them. I'm not a salesperson. So that's all I have.